On this, let's do this.
Here, man. Yo, what's up, guys?
What's happening?
I told these guys, like, hey, I'm starting. I did the intro. We're here. Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dante, the Silent. Yeah, Aunt Shirley on here. We finally have a woman on here now. We could talk about a lot of stuff. Yeah. Appreciate you coming on, Aunt Shirley.
Thanks for having me.
Making a comeback. You got Max Savage, of course. What's going on? What's up, man?
What's happening, man?
Yo.
So glad to be here.
Are you? I missed you yesterday. I missed you last episode.
Thank you. I had a really fucking bad headache.
Alpha Monk killed it though, so it was good to. How you feeling, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm way better now, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, he had a hangover, right? Did you?
Yeah, that's what it was. No, I don't know what it was, but I guess I just didn't drink enough water at work, but I was just like dead. And then after I drove home, I was like, yo, I can't even see. Like, I just gotta lay down.
Oh, thirsty.
Oh, yeah. You brought the damn air horn back.
Not the Jamaican air horn.
It's back.
Bringing it back.
My worst nightmare.
It's back.
Oh,
it's back.
Also,
what's going on, everybody, on live stream? Whoever on here who's ever tapped into Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, welcome. If you guys just now joining in, if you guys just don't know what I do, it is called Why Date Podcast. It is a podcast, pretty much a show almost. I don't know, man. I feel like it's coming to a show. It's not even almost. I forget it's a podcast because I'm doing so much other stuff on here. Like I'm on YouTube and everything else. I'm like, oh man, I feel like this is a show, a Wednesday night show, talking about dating stuff. Yeah. So this episode is gonna be the 50-50 myth. Actually, you know what? Last episode, man, since you weren't here, guys, I know Aunt Shirley was tapping in. I know you missed out on the post episode, but yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about. There was a lot of single moms on there. That's from what I know. I know. I remember that.
I think the topic was about love versus money, right, or something like that.
Love versus money. I thought,
or something.
What is that? What does that mean?
I think it's like it talks about people's date your wage. It was kind of like another continualization of dating your wage. I think that's what we talked about. What's going on, Kim? What's up, Mrs. Ordinary? What's up, Susie? What's going on? So yeah, that's what we talked about. Alphabet makes some good stuff, man. Actually, to be honest, man, last night I was actually tuning in to my boy Kevin Samuels. And Shirley shakes her head. As she shakes her head.
I hate that guy. I am one of those women on the internet that's just like, why have we given him a platform? Why are we letting him talk? He's so frustrating.
Kim says hello. Say hey, girl.
Hi, Kim. Hey, Kim. Hey, girl.
Hey, we gotta have somebody on the platform that everyone doesn't like. Women don't like.
You know why women don't like him? It's not because he tells the truth. He's just an asshole in a nice suit. And I don't know, and also, I don't know why women are actually looking to him for advice. Like, he's not.
They ask me for advice.
I mean,
people ask everything for advice.
He's just not the person to go to. He's just there to like break down Black women's self-esteem. Like, I don't know. I hate the guy.
Who the fuck are we talking about? What did I miss? I'm gone for one episode and there's someone like attacking. What's going on?
So
go ahead. Yeah.
There's a guy, you can look him up on Instagram if you ever get the chance. I know you're never on Instagram, Max. You're never on there at all. But if you ever get a chance, look up this man. It's called Kevin Samuels. He's got a YouTube too. I might put him on an episode one day. Fuck.
No!
Let me highlight him real quick. You know what I'm saying? He makes sense of this world for me.
Wow.
I'm so confused.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm. Anyways, those are people I look at that I listen to now. It's Joe Rogan, Kevin Samuels, Joe Budden.
Jesus, this doesn't sound good at all.
Toxic ass.
These are the worst role models.
Oh, not role models. I just like listening to them. Oh, and Steven Crowder. He's pretty cool too. But so he talks about. He pretty much chews out a lot of women on the truth. There was an episode I just saw him do. He was. He said something that probably might trigger Ann Shirley a lot, like everything else, right? That I say. Hopefully it doesn't.
Just say the thing.
Okay,
please.
okay. So one girl says, she said, well, I'm giving him my pussy. That's enough. He's like, man, that pussy's not even a virgin. It's got miles on it. That doesn't have much value on it. She gave it like a vehicle. She flipped out. Like, a vehicle?
Okay, but that ties into like the subject that we're kind of talking about when it comes to 50-50. There are women who believe like pussy is enough. Pussy is enough. It has high value. It doesn't depreciate. And
apparently not to Kevin Samuels.
Apparently, yeah. I mean,
he said he got miles on it. You're not getting fresh pussy.
This is okay. So as the person who's usually on the corner of like 100% siding with women, I say pussy is not enough.
Pussy is not enough.
It's not. It can't be. It's not. It's the same thing as going, well, is dick enough? Could you just be with a guy solely for dick?
Dick can
Here's
be...
the thing. Dick does not have the same market value. Like, dick is so like easy to access. Like I could go anywhere, literally anywhere, dressed anyway, and get dick. But you can't do that with pussy.
Really?
You have to come. All right. Do you have a story that you would like to share with us?
I mean, I'm not saying I get a pussy every day. It's just if you want, you can pay for it. You can go on East 14th in Oakland and get pussy.
No one's doing that for dick, though. No one's paying for dick. Like
they should. Put the value back on dick again, please.
Yeah, there's a dick depression, and y'all need to raise the stock.
We need to increase the wages.
Have you ever been to a female bachelor party? There's definitely paying for dick going on.
But that's premium dick, right? That comes with fantasy.
Now that's where it comes down to premium, because there's bad pussy out there too. Okay, if you've got quality dick, you should be given quality dick and quality respect as well. If you're sitting there and you're like, listen, lady, I can make you come 2 minutes flat, and that's because I'm letting it go long. I can get this in 6 seconds, okay? But here's how we're gonna do this. That works. That's fine. That's that 50-50 equal equivalent exchange. Sex isn't one person. Sex isn't just, oh, it's my dick going inside of you, or oh, it's my dick
wait a minute. Did you just quote something from fucking Full Metal Alchemist out here, dude? Did you just the equivalent exchange? The
Yeah,
equivalent
yeah.
exchange. It's not like that.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious.
But it's true. See, because I've had people sit there. I've had past relationships use that too, where it's like, well, I gave you sex, so I'm like, I don't give a shit. Last time I looked, I gave you sex too. We both gave each other sex. I wasn't just fucking myself in there. Like, it's not like you went, here's my pussy, go ahead. No, we both were doing this together, and we were both excited for what's going on. I don't like when people use like body parts as weapons in a way, because that's what that is at that point. It's like, hey, yo, like, I'm giving you my premium pussy. Kind of what Homeboy said. No, it's not premium. If it's been around, it's been around. But at the same time, I don't like equivalating it to a vehicle, because I am a guy who likes old school vehicles, and I'm like, yo, an old school vehicle is gonna ride great. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's been worked in. Well, like that's how you know you got something good. Fuck
And you
virgins.
can apply that to pussy too.
So
Yeah.
Side note. Kim said you have really pretty eyes, Max. Are you using filters?
My eyes? No, this is genuine Caucasian eyes going on. I don't need filters.
Oh, so now you want to be
Yeah.
white. Now you will be Caucasian now. Okay.
No, I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I just know that's where
When
this
it's
comes from.
convenient.
I mean,
Off the record,
that's what
Max
this
is also
I
black.
get this from my dad for sure.
So you guys know Max is
That
black.
and the
If
beard.
you ain't listening
The
in, he's a black man.
Thank you.
Just like, you know, I'm not depreciating that. I met your family. I know. I'm not just saying this. I've seen his family. Oh, what's going on, guys? Genuine Caucasian. She laughs. I mean, okay, so here's how I feel about 50-50, okay? So I think it's a myth. Like, honestly, you really can't continue on 50-50. Things can never be, there's always going to be someone going more, and it's going to flip-flop, switch every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was like something I'm going to bring up Kevin Samuels again. I'm sorry. He did talk about that. He said, hey, like, if you're looking, love is going to be unfair at times.
Oh, yeah.
Is my background messed up? Love is going to be all messed up at some point, right? It's going to be unfair at some times, right? I'm like, That's all I said. And if that makes sense, resonate with you guys, but resonate with me.
No,
that makes sense. Do you agree or disagree?
That's totally true. I mean, so as much as my girl doesn't like it when I put up her in examples. So she's a student right now. And due to her being a student, a lot of her time is dedicated and focused on working on school. So does that mean that she can't give me 100%? Yeah, it does. It means that there's a bit of her time that's given towards her education and shit. And I have to understand that, like, this week, you know, like preschool, we're going to be having fun, seeing each other every day. But during school, we're not going to be able to do that. Does that mean that anything's bad going on? No, it focuses on something more important, something that's equally valued between the both of us. So it's something that I feel is okay for it to be, hey, no, like, it's cool. Like, right now, it's great. Like, focus on school, do your thing. You don't need to give me all this attention. Once this shit's done, though, you know, give me all this attention. Like, you know, all that time can now be focused on shit that we can do together. But during the time that you got to do this, do your shit, you know? And same thing when it comes to like in my case, if I recently I had to go spend a lot of time with my family. Spending time with my family meant I wasn't spending time with her. So that's not a 50-50% on like, yo, I'm going to give you all of my time and then also give all of my time to somebody else. No, like, I'm like, no, like, you need to hold back. I need to go see my family. I need to handle whatever I've got going on. This is where my attention, this is where my head space is at right now. This is what I have to do. So it's true. Like love, exactly like Homeboy said, love is it's not like an everyday, like everything's stuck like this. No, people are people. Humans are humans. Like, we got shit to do. People have their own life going on. And being in love with somebody and loving somebody is a part of the life, but it's not your life. And it really shouldn't be your whole life. Like, and that's the thing too, is sometimes you can let somebody know, be like, hey, like, I don't feel 100% in this right now. Like, slow it down a bit, or let's do this, or I'm not feeling up to whatever your standards are, whatever. Conversation's key, you know?
You agree, Aunt Shirley, with that? Or, you know, you're the only woman here. We're just talking shit. So,
I mean,
feel free to step in.
I agree 50-50. Ha! Like there's an aspect to it that like I absolutely emphatically agree with, but then so what you're talking about makes sense. As life happens, you can't always give 100% consistently, especially like especially because love isn't, or a relationship isn't your whole entire identity. Like that makes sense. I also consider though, like, I don't think 50-50, I don't use the word 50-50, like, I give 10%, you give 10%. It's more like proportionality. So like, if you're in a position, like if you use your relationship, for example, your partner can't give you all of the attention that you want, right? But she still shows up in some ways.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of like being proportional, and I believe in that. So I agree to an extent, but the part where I disagree is like, okay, so like when you're out dating and you're getting to know someone, there's this general kind of like testing of boundaries that happens, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out how much are you willing to give in the relationship and how much are you willing to give me back? Like, is this going to be a reciprocal union, right? And oftentimes, like, I think that's where the myth or the idea of 50-50 comes in, which is like, I do not want to overextend myself or overgive in a relationship. And I want to make sure that things are balanced. I think, does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of something we touched on before the podcast started, where it's like exactly how you're saying. That's how I see it, pretty much.
Yeah, but like, okay, like think of like, okay, I'll use myself as an example, right? Like if I'm on a first date with someone, right? And and we get to the end of it and it's like, who's gonna pay, right? I know I have money and I know my partner has money, and it's like, if I'll volunteer maybe to like pay, but if he doesn't make that same energy in exchange, like if he just assumes that I'm going to take care of it, that doesn't feel like it's going to be like a balanced like thing. Does that make sense? Right.
Oh, yeah.
So my point being, 50-50 matters, I think, in the very beginning, because you're trying to figure out what like each person's boundaries are. Like, is this going to be reciprocal? Yeah.
Because it'll change. You'll have someone who like, I gave like 95% of my time, and then the other person might feel like they gave them just as much. There's people like that.
That's another thing too. Like what I feel like I need in a relationship to feel like it's balanced may not be how the other person gives love. So sometimes like that can feel like things are imbalanced because I'm not getting love in the way that I expect. So like I could be giving 100%, but you may not feel like it's 100% because that's not what makes sense to you. Yeah. Yeah.
No, stop with the fucking
the Jamaican air horn. But like, do you guys think that like you guys generally think 50-50 is a myth? Like life happens, you just give what you give and take.
Yeah, man. I think
everybody knows me. I don't like fucking labels and like fake names on shit. I just don't agree with the terminology of 50-50. I think it's what do we call it? The alchemist theory, equivalent exchange. It's just how it is. You give what you can give, and talk through if you feel like there's a deficiency in it.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the reason why women talk about 50-50 a lot is because they get exploited in relationships a lot. Like, because there's no like understanding generally, if you don't establish like, oh, I expect 50-50, sometimes dudes will just like run through you. Like they'll take up all your resources. They'll expect you to pay for a lot, like just to prove that you bring something to the table, right? So a lot of women start off with like, I expect 50-50 because they're trying to create like a boundary where they're not exploited.
Yeah. I mean, I wish Alpha Monk was here. He always sees balance in everything. So,
yeah.
I mean, how I feel is this. Yeah, you're trying to figure out 50-50, but in a sense, you also got to think about people's expectations, and we already talked about that last episode.
What do you mean by that?
might not think the rule of thumb is when you bring a girl out to dinner, a man pays for it. Like, there's no like 50-50 for that one. Oh yeah, it's because I've done that before. I've tested this theory out. I went on multiple dates, and I said, hey, let's split the tab. Let's do that, right? Didn't hear from her again. Like she, and then the other person I paid for, they were like, oh, cool, all right. Because I'm gauging it like how quick they're gonna put out their wallet. I'm like, all right, okay, she wants to pay for it, so I'm just gonna ask that question, like, hey, like 50-50, you wanna? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't, because if you do that, girls just gonna be like, oh, he didn't pay for the meal. He wants to go 50-50. Are we just friends? So I guess this is what you do for your friends, right? That's what women get confused on. Well, I guess I'm just a friend. He's not trying to pursue me.
Right. Yeah.
So
for sure.
A lot of y'all women made that standard pretty clear that man's supposed to pay for food at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, I read something on the internet, and so it was actually on Twitter, and someone had said like, oh, if a man isn't trying to feed you, then he doesn't give a fuck about you, right? Like, essentially, they were trying to imply, if he can't help you eat, if he can't help you like take, I don't know, provide. I guess that we're getting into like gender expectations, but like, if he can't help provide for you, then he doesn't actually care, right? And I think there's this idea, like when you go on a first date with someone, like, yeah, if you really care, you want to show that you got it like that, right?
I mean, we got this is why we do this. This is why we stunt so hard. A lot of it is for women. Like, we stunt so hard for it, right? What's up, Donice? What's up? You say your favorite Cancers here. Yeah, what's up?
Hi. Hi, Donish.
So I got some comments here. It's consistently learning from each other, and yeah, what we consider love or attention may be completely different than what they think love is. Whoever invited should take the lead. I get what she's saying, what you're saying, Aunt Shirley. Like, at first, you're the only woman here, I think, right?
I was about to say, I was like, is there another,
So at first you want to fill out the boundaries. Tonight I brought dinner. My girl brought drinks.
Yeah, and that works. That works for some couples. For sure.
That works. I mean, I think as you become a couple, I think that money situation, like you just said earlier, if we both got money, it should never be an issue. Like, all right, that's fine. Like, but in the beginning of the day, out here for us, well, Max is not single. I'm not sure. You're single, man. But for me, like, personally, it's out in the wild. You got to go in like 100, especially for food. But
because like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the point of being in a relationship is if it's going to be imbalanced. I don't know. I don't understand that. Like,
no, that's exactly that. Like, you shouldn't. So one thing that I've been talking myself over and over and over again about is like when people settle in relationships, where they're like, oh, like this, and they settle for shit, and I'm like, why? Like, literally, why? Like, step outside, and I guarantee you're gonna find a fuck ton more people in the world, and I guarantee you one of those people will either be better or worse than whoever it is you're seeing yourself with right now. And it comes down to, if you're a person who gives 100% into a relationship, that's cool. And your current partner or somebody who you're pursuing a relationship with, it only gives 50, and that's what they believe in. They only believe in 50. If you are okay with just taking in just 50% with you giving 100, then it's fine. It's not a big deal. But if you expect that 100, if you're like, I'm giving 100, you should give me that 100, go find somebody else. Because there's no reason to sit there and text yourself back and be like, I'm going to pull back, or I'm going to know. Because there's so much more out there. There's so many people out there. Like, find somebody that fucking matches you. Absolutely. And like, again, but there is things like that where there are people who are way more loving, and they know they're just way more loving. And it's like, honestly, if they were to get with somebody, like if you were 100%, you were to get with somebody who's also 100%, it get fucking gross, because you guys are just constantly at each other. Is like, oh, well, I gotta and it's like, no, sometimes you need to balance yourself out with somebody who's not a very loving person, like it's that finding that missing puzzle piece we talked about earlier, of like going for the opposite, not really opposite, but something that works well with, and that
Right.
could be it. I just don't like when people are like, oh, like I'm with this guy and he cheats me out. Find somebody else. Like, it's not fucking hard. Like, we got 1,300 apps. We can find people from your house now. Shit's crazy.
It's harder as you get older. Okay, man. For a lot of women, they start getting to that point.
Oh, it's harder. It's harder when you get older. I don't believe that at all. I believe
you start getting more busy. You start having more things going on.
It's just effort. If you want it to be easy, yeah, of course it's going to be harder. But if you want to, I'm not saying people should just go out and try to find somebody or whatever. But like, if you're like, yeah, like I'm ready to date, I'm ready to do this shit. Yeah, go out there, fucking go for it. Like, talk to people, go to these places, do these things. They even got like couples groups and shit now, like where they try to like speed date and get people to go and chill out with each other and shit. The couples retreats.
Couples retreats.
Go on a fucking cruise, do one of those like treat yourself weekends or whatever, and then find somebody, shack up for a week. Who gives a shit,
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. Find someone in your bracket.
Yeah.
Find someone who is willing to give you as much as you want in return. 50-50 to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But I guess my question is like, then what do you do in a situation where, okay, so remember how we were talking about how like, there's balance. One partner has a tendency to have what the other one doesn't, and that's why we get together, right? To kind of fulfill. Okay, so then what happens, or would you think that the best way to, okay, let's say I'm someone who's like super emotional, right? I'm super emotional, and I pair with someone who's like super logical, right? And I'm always giving 100, and because they're very logic based, they only give like 50%. Would you suggest then, like, and I want this person, right? Would you suggest that the reasonable thing to do would be to dial back, which would encourage them to kind of put forth, like, I guess what I'm trying to explain is like,
no, I don't.
You just give up the whole thing?
No, not at all. So when it comes to a situation like that, communication, talk to them. Because I guarantee you that's what it is. The problem comes down to, have you communicated and told that person, I'm an emotional person, you're a logical person, this is what I'm giving, this is what you're giving, and it's not a bad thing, but just to let you know, I'm going to give a hell of a lot more. And are you okay with that? And like, I don't want you to feel like you need to give more than you can because it's not genuine at that point. And that's what that is. It's communication with that. No, you shouldn't just drop dead and be like, oh, well, fuck this guy, like off to the next one. No, if you really want to be with somebody and for some reason you feel like this is the person I want to be with, this is somebody who I love, or almost saying the word, whatever, and you're like, how can I make this work? Fucking talk to them. To be like, this is who I am, this is who you are. Because the only thing that could happen is you guys are going to have to talk about it. You're going to have to talk about it. And it might lead to we're not ready for each other. And the only reason why you even want to be with this person is just for something that you feel like, oh, well, I feel like we're a good match. No, don't just feel like you're a good match. You should be. There's no feel. Like, it is. It is, A lot of people have to get on this track of like, well, it could, or well, it should. Fuck that shit. If it's not, figure it out. Figure out why things aren't going the way it is. And a lot of it comes down to just talk to them. Like, I don't understand how people can sit in a bed, they can sleep butt naked next to somebody in bed for weeks and still not talk to them about shit. Like, you're literally the most exposed right now, and you won't just spark a conversation of like, hey, so I've been thinking about this recently. What are they going to do? No one's going to be like, oh, you've been thinking? I'm out. No, like we are a communicative species, unless you're dating a mute, like, people want to talk, and no one can fucking read each other's minds. Like, as much as we pretend like we know what everybody's gonna say, nobody can fucking do it. So you have to talk. You have to go, hey, like what you said the other day upset me with this because you're super logical or whatever. Like, you just, and it didn't. I'm emotional, and it triggered my emotion and didn't make me feel good. He's a logical person. He's gonna go, oh shit. If I speak like this, it will upset her. Do I want her to be upset? Fuck no. Okay. Simple shit.
Period. I love that.
Period. Yeah. The only time I'll accept the air horn, I was expecting that. I was like, yes. This
I
is
got you, bro.
Jamaican air horn. Here we go.
I got
Thanks.
you. All right, man.
Thanks,
Hold
Tom,
on,
thanks.
Max, man. I'm getting motion
What?
sickness just watching you move around. Is it
Oh,
possible?
I'm sorry. So I don't know where my what's it called?
Getting motion
My
sickness out here,
charger
dog.
is. So I'm like, I got you.
Let's get a little dizzy. I was like, oh.
Sorry, guys.
Look
I'm on
like
a
Mortal
boat right
Kombat
now.
out here, man. Getting dizzy.
Let me set this shit up.
Please. Thank you.
Bam.
Thank you.
My dog's gonna be in the shop. Sorry, guys. Come
Oh.
here.
What's with the horn, bro? I don't know, man. This is like season 5 horn shit. I don't know where it came from. Deep shit though, Max. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate your input. Even though sometimes I don't agree with all of it, but I appreciate
No,
it.
it's totally fine. You know, and you know what? Why this works? Because
Why?
we fucking talk about it. You know.
Touche.
If we were to just keep this all inside, and nothing's gonna get solved.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, communication's key, and it's the way you negotiate change. And it doesn't have to be, but that's the thing. I think a lot of us are scared to communicate our true feelings.
Well,
right?
I think it comes down to a lot of us are scared because they don't want change. A lot of people just don't want change, and it's like change is expected. Okay, and like one of the things I had to deal with earlier, not like in a partner, but just like in a friendship.
Sure.
I had a friend who's very stuck on the idea that they'll never change, never at
This is
no
who I am
point.
as a person. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is who I am. This is how you have to accept me. And it's like, one, that's fucking toxic. That's not a way
Right.
anybody should think. Because prime example, look at me at the beginning of this podcast. Look at me now. It's only been 5 fucking years, and I'm not the same person, you know. And that's not because I changed for anybody. I just changed. I got older. Things work differently. A lot of stuff's happened in my life, and I've now thought differently from who I am. Somebody who focuses so hard on like not trying to change, it's scary. And in a relationship, there's that idea of like, oh well, like for example, for me, I have a dog, and I collect like video games and shit like that. So like when I go into a relationship, these are things I think about. I'm like, oh, are they gonna want me to
Right.
get rid of him, or they're gonna make me get rid of my shit? And it's like, no, don't be
Right.
with them. Like,
Right.
you know, you find the middle ground. You find what works with this, what works with that. Like I've learned to not, like I can collect all my shit and have it all in my space. I can't leave it out everywhere because that's not fair to the other person, kind of a thing. And no one's got a problem with dogs, so I won't date somebody who doesn't like dogs. That's period. Like,
I think the most important
Go
thing,
ahead.
the most important thing that I took away from what you just said is you need to know what is like what you won't compromise on. You need to know what
Yeah.
your needs are. And
Yeah.
also at the same time, like being willing to change is natural, but hopefully it's self-directed, right? It's not
Yeah.
something that you're doing to please someone else.
Exactly. You should never change for somebody else. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You should want to change yourself for who you are, you know? And
Period.
sometimes it just happens. You just change. You just become a different person. It happens all they talk about every 7 years your cells have been recycled to the point where you're technically a new person. I
Sure,
feel that's
yeah,
true
I've heard
because
that.
look at that. When you're fresh born is completely different from when you're 7. Once you're from 7 to 14, completely different. 14 to 21, you're now drinking. 21 to fucking 28, you're completely different from each one of those stages. You will naturally change.
Yeah.
All relative, equal, just regular shit. Like it's right there, fucking simple. People who don't want to change and people who go into relationships with that idea of like, oh, I don't want change. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. If you try to fight it, what you're doing is you're building a wall and you're telling somebody it's not even a boundary at that point. It's just I'm not going to listen to anything. I'm going to do my own thing. You can't be in a relationship with somebody who's like, it's just me. A relationship is a fucking team effort. Both of you have to work with it. That's where that 50-50 comes in, where it's like, no, like these are things that need to work on. And what it comes down to is like, for instance, let's say you're a person who doesn't like fucking doing dishes. Okay, cool. You don't like doing dishes. Well, guess what? You make a lot of dishes, so someone has to clean them. And you can't expect your partner to just do it all the time because, well, they're not the one making all these dishes. Some of the times they're cleaning only their dishes and only leaving your dishes there. You have to adapt, and that's what it is. It's adapting.
Adapting to the different needs of a relationship.
Right?
But the most important thing is like maybe in a 50-50 dynamic, it's just, yes, I accept what you bring to the table and I bring my own stuff, and that changes over time. But 50-50 is I guess the choice to put in effort, period. Right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
And there are some people who just won't accept less than 50%. Like, despite the fact that things are changing, like I still expect you to bring your 100%, right? Or I still expect you to bring, like, I don't expect any change, right? The day you met me to the day we die, I want it to be honeymoon period forever. That's unrealistic. You just scoffed at that. You're like, you think that's
unrealistic, but it is.
I scoffed a little bit, but
oh, okay.
Well,
I mean, there's gonna be a time where
it's not real. There's a reason why it's called the honeymoon period. It's not a honeymoon lifestyle. Like it will end.
You ruined my life, Max. I'll let you. You ruined my life.
You're welcome. Don't you love when this terminology comes
what?
up?
His terminology just fucked my shit up because he gave me different phases and scenarios. Oh, you're in the honeymoon stage. Oh, you're in the sweatpants phase. Oh, you're in this phase.
The sweatpants phase.
Yeah.
Yo, he's always on that sweatpants phase, yo.
Bro. Like, I'm just saying. I should never listen to a lot of shit you said, but you put it in my mind, and it manipulates me to do shit the wrong way. I'm just like, oh, fucking Max.
No,
shit.
no, it's not the wrong way. It's not the right way. It is. That's the thing. It is. Like, this is the way. Like fucking. That's just how it is. Quoting Star Wars now. Look at this. I'm getting through all the nerdom.
This is the way.
This is the way.
I don't know, man. It's tough for me to agree with, but I see what you guys mean with the 50-50. I just don't believe that truly exists.
Okay, so what is your ideals on it then?
It's never,
because you seem to be the one person who doesn't believe in it, and you're the person who's
good.
Good.
I think
let's hear your side of this.
Yeah, man. All right, I'll tell you. So, I mean, someone's always giving their more than the other person. Like, I've always believed that. Like, someone's always giving more than the other person, regardless. There's balance. Yes. Wait, what my friend said about the dinner and she gets the drinks. But how often, we're not talking about drinks and dinner. We're talking about like other things, like other shit, emotionally, financially, certain things, right? Little, like, I'm not saying small, but things like taking someone out to dinner and then going half of it. Like, that's simple, right? We're talking about like a whole big shit of like emotional dumpage that someone has to take on, right? That's someone doing more than the effort than what they're doing, right? Like, they're pretty much taking care of somebody to the whole degree, like knowing that they're not emotionally there, they're taking care of them. Like, there are certain relationships where it's like that. They're putting so much effort in. And it hasn't been like that. It hasn't changed. There's never been a balance. There's always been someone doing more than the other person. I don't know.
I mean, if we go back to like the communication example, like if you're in a relationship with someone and you like open up your entire heart to someone and they just give you like, okay, cool. Like that, are you saying that's normal? That's something that we should normalize in relationships? Like that we should just accept that things are imbalanced like that?
Yeah.
Or should we say like, okay, well, I can see that this person's giving me a lot. What can I do to open up so it's more balanced?
Well, that's the problem. You guys trying to find balance, right? And that's when you're trying to look for all the time. Everyone's looking for that balance in the relationship. You have to go in thinking that it may not be balanced, and you have to be okay with that.
Technically speaking, Dante, you're right. Like, because think about it. Yeah, think about it. Hold on. So you're giving 100%, and you feel like the person you're with is only giving 50. But what if the person you're with is giving 100%, but it's their 100%?
There's a quote that someone said.
That's that.
Here's a quote that someone said. One of my mentors I look up to. He said, "Let the 10s do 10%. Let the 30s do 30s. Let the 50s do 50. If you're 100% person, you go 100% regardless. You shouldn't expect that in return. Let them do the 50s at the best ability they can. You can't
Absolutely.
expect 50s to do 100s. You can't expect someone to go 50% to go to 100%.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that makes sense because it's true. You know, there are people who are just not, they can't, like, they think they are. That's the best part, is they think they're giving 100%. They're like, yo, I text her once today, like, holy shit, like, I'm real in it. And you're like, once, bitch, like, I text like 60 other people today. Like, that's nothing, you know? But to them, that is their 100%. That's them giving their all. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but I think that's how a lot of conflict happens in relationships too, because like in many ways, even if your 100% is your 100%, like to another person that can feel like you're choosing not to like meet me halfway.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's where that compromise of going, well, I see this person's giving 50%, but it's their 100%. Like, they're trying. And that really comes down to effort and trying and shit. Like, you see they're trying. It's not matching the same thing as you, but you see there's effort being put in. You're like, yeah, I see. You got to go at that point. Is that enough for me?
Right. And like that's the thing. Like, aren't we supposed to grow? Like, how much of it is just you just being like defiant and being like, you know what? This is my best and I'm not willing to do anymore, and you go find someone else? Or like, how much of it is just you just choosing to be stubborn and then like just really giving the best you can?
I wouldn't say, yeah. I mean, I see what you're talking about. Actually, you want someone to build with. You want someone to be better every day, right?
Grow.
Yeah, grow. I get that. I get what you mean. But forced grow is also a problem too. You can also overwater plants and they die, right?
Oh, I like that one. Yeah.
I mean, like, I know because my plants are dying. That's how I know. But honestly, but it's like you have to let it take the process. You have to understand the process and appreciate the process. If they're looking to get better and better and better, I think it's someone who feels like they're a 30%er. They're gonna know that they're pretty 30%. Like, I think at some point they're gonna be like, okay, I feel like I'm not giving the most out of this, right? Let me do more. I mean, I could be different. I could be thinking that way, but that's how I feel. My mindset is, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm not giving enough. Let me do a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
But everyone's different. Like, it really depends on what you're tolerating. What can you accept, right?
Would you agree that you change how much effort you give based off of how much you give a fuck, right? Like,
oh yeah.
So then that's arguably like, okay, if you know you're a 30%er, but then you find someone who probably demands like 80%, you're gonna choose to go that extra 50 just to meet them halfway, right? Like, I would hope. Or are you just gonna be like, you know what? I'm a 30%er, you're an 80%er. That's it.
Well, I mean,
an 80%er is going to expect someone to do the same thing. I think it's all as human beings, we're going to expect someone to do the same thing that someone else is doing for us. That's what we attract. We attract someone to do the same percentage, right? So if you're an 80%er, you're going to think that someone's going to definitely be a 30%er. That 30%er may not even know that they're a 30%er. Right? That's also a big one, right? Oh, yeah, this person, like, a person who's going 100% is going to know someone's not doing 30 or 20. Like, anything below that, they'll know. Like, right? So the question is, do they know? Or are they just accepting of it? Or is this the best that they can do at their ability? And that's the thing, that's a conversation that people have, right? This is why we have this issue with someone. Oh, I feel like I'm doing so much for this person and they're not doing anything back. But how do you know? They might be doing more than the best of their ability. And if that's their cap and limit, you can't accept that, then you got to move on, right? But they're not looking to grow, right? I don't know. I could be wrong. But
no, it's true, because if that's a constant complaint you have, where you've been with this person for years and you keep bringing up the fact where it's like, I feel like I'm giving everything and they're not giving anything, and you haven't had the talk. One, have the talk. Two, if you have had the talk, then you need to understand that maybe that relationship's not right for you. Maybe it's not even a fault in them. Maybe it's a fault in like your over nurturingness. You're the 100 or the 80% going with somebody who's lower than them, being like, oh, well, I expect you to get up to this level. Don't fucking expect anything of anybody. Never expect anything from anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Here's my thing about that. I think what the problem is that people are going to complain about their doing too much. You're going to have to accept that. If this is who you are as a character, accept it. If you're going to do more than someone else, accept that. Like, that's that's who you are as a person, as a character. You just have to get that out of your mindset. If you're expecting something in return from someone else, you're gonna have a hard time because it's gonna be tough for you to really compensate for people to compensate for how much you give, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, either you accept it or keep finding that right one, but it's so hard to find that same person, right?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just talking mess, but that could be me. I don't know. Think for the hearts.
I mean, it makes sense, and I think both can be true, right?
Yeah.
I think you are absolutely valid, and you should do you despite what kind of expectation or whatever benefit. Like you should just, if you're a 100% person, be 100% and don't expect others to give it to you back. Just do you. That could be true. And then we can also say that, you know what, like if I'm in a relationship with someone and they're not meeting my needs consistently enough, I still want to work on it with them. Let me communicate with them and see if they're willing to adapt and grow with me.
Or maybe even help, like let them know, because a lot of times people do not know what that extra step is to bring them up from a 30 to a 40 to a 50. They're like, oh yeah, I'm giving 100%. Well, absolutely. But if you don't know how to fish, how can you fish?
Right.
Like you got to be taught that shit. So sometimes it is a conversation and hey, like, watch what I do. Like pick this up, understand this.
It
You're a
also,
manager. Oh,
okay, go ahead. It also has to do with someone really actually willing to take that step. There's a difference between forcing someone to do it and then actually having them wanting to do it. That's the thing. That
go ahead. Yeah, I'm trying to be polite.
Zoom, you raise your hand. You raise your hand in the Zoom chat.
Just get shouting. That's all it is.
Go ahead, Shirley. I'll let you do.
You guys have both been managers, right?
Yeah.
And you guys also know that not everyone's going to be your best salesperson, and not everyone's going to be your best closer, and not everyone is going to love being backstock or whatever the fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you understand that people have their own strengths, right? So I get what as managers though, does it make sense for you to be like, you know what, you're my best backstock person, and hold on. I was going to make an argument, but I feel like I'm going to agree with Dante, and I don't think I want to agree with you. Let me rephrase it.
It's starting to sound like polygamy. You're good at this, but this.
If you agree with me, Shirley, that is a problem.
I know. Let me rethink where I'm going.
Think about before you go in there and say something.
So, like, what I am trying to say is, you put everyone in. You want the most effective person to be in the best environment so they can be their best selves. True or false? As a manager, it doesn't make sense.
That's true.
Okay, so like I guess that just backs up what y'all were saying about like imbalances, and not everyone's gonna give like the whole 100%. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I like the idea of looking at it as like that work kind of mentality, because I know this is super stupid, but you know how when people say like you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, that's true.
100%. That's how it works. Even if you could have a top tier, everybody's on time, everyone's on their shit, you don't even have to like tell people what to do, kind of management. But then fucking doofus comes in and the whole day is damn near ruined because they're just, and that's where focus goes into. It's really funny. So I had a coworker, or I had somebody that we had hired working out here in San Francisco, and that was our problem, is that he was not good, like at all. Like let people walk out with shoes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was bad. Just real stupid shit, you know? And we were like, yo, we gotta let this cat go. Like we gotta get rid of him. And I remember sitting down, and it wasn't even like my higher up manager. I was the one that sat there and said, well, you know what? In my opinion, if we just get rid of this guy, he's not the one that failed. We did. Like as a manager, your job is also to be a teacher. You're there to like get the person to the same level as everybody else. And I swear to God, I took 2 solid months of just working with this kid, seeing what his strengths were, seeing where his weaknesses were, working on the weaknesses and shit like that. And he flipped it around. From the end of that, he was my top salesperson because one, I was giving him a chance, I was giving him a shot, but I was also focusing on him. I was like, hey, like usually when you're always like, yeah, like I'm giving the good person the good jobs, they know they're fucking good. The one who's not good is the one you need to focus on, to work with. That works in a way with relationships too, kind of.
Yes, you know? It does. Exactly.
It does, because like you have to, you know, there are times where you have to look at what's the weakest part of your relationship. You know, what is something like, oh, like again, like we don't talk enough, or like we don't have sex enough. As somebody else who's been on this podcast would bring up, like, oh, we don't have sex enough. Clear that out. What is enough? What is this? What is that? What are these? Work on it and figure it out. You might not get 100%. Like, I would not say that this guy was a better salesperson than I am, but I was able to unlock that guy's 100% in doing the job, as opposed to when he was only at his 50%. And even though his 100% doesn't match my 100%, his 100% was damn near better than where the fuck he was before. In relationships, the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And in that same case, which goes back to my bigger point, you were providing the environment so he could grow into being his 100%, right?
Yeah.
You didn't just give up on him, right?
No.
You didn't say like, you're fired, right? I'm going to find another person who can bring me 100. You worked with him and he adapted.
Yeah.
So
I didn't sit there and threaten him with like, oh, like if you don't do good, you're gonna get fired. Like in a relationship, where it's like, oh, well, if you're not doing what you want, like I'm gonna leave you. No, I don't like using negative terminology when teaching people. I'm like, no, man, like it's okay, you failed. Let's try to be better. Like let's pick this up. Let's go as hard as we can. Let's do what we gotta do, you know?
And ultimately that's a choice that you both had to agree upon in order to do. And in a similar way, we do that in relationships. So if I meet someone and I know I give 100 and this person is only giving me 30, you do get to choose if you want to grow with it. You don't just, I think it's unfortunate to just say, well, this is my 30 and either you accept that or not. Like, no, we can cultivate an environment where you feel comfortable bringing your 100. Or vice versa. And so like, Dante's right. Like, yes, there's always going to be some form of inequality, but the point is like, we can work to make sure that it's more balanced.
Yeah.
I don't get the air horn? Oh, okay, cool.
You get the air horn. You guys are definitely speaking some truth. I that is a hard job to do, Max. To get someone to go from 50 to 100. Like that is, I commend you for that, because as a manager, that was my issue, right? I mean, I didn't really push on it, and it didn't really bother me as much because I was always like the Michael Jordan, the player in the game, so I was always like stepping it up anyway. But it's hard to coach someone else to do what you do, right? You know, that takes skill, that takes talent, right? In a relationship, like you said, it goes back down to that. If you're like the person who's always used to giving your all, and now you're tired of it, and I expected something in a return as a relationship moving forward, then that's where things start having issues. I had our favorite Cancer go in here and say something. He actually said some comments here as you guys are talking. One part that that's being missed is race and culture comes in play with the relationships too, due to pressure of family or culture.
Oh yeah,
and can make or break relationship or even lead to cheating.
Yes, that's such a. Can I touch on this?
You go ahead, because you actually touched it on your favorite Cancers, you know, so he's gonna be honored.
You're my favorite forever, ever and ever. So like, if we talk about like on a cultural aspect, right? Men and women are socialized differently to give different amounts of labor in relationships, and especially in like Black and brown culture, like there's an expectation for like men to give maybe, I don't know, 20% and women to kind of like pick that up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, a lot of that, and I think that's where the argument could be made, where there's so much like imbalance in relationships, because we're not just walking as individuals, we are socialized to think and behave in a certain way. And so a lot of, I mean, women and men, especially in certain cultures, do have a tendency to normalize imbalances. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Man. Black man, white man, what do y'all think?
who are you talking to?
So,
he's black and white.
One of the things is that is 100%. And like I've talked to people when it comes down to things like, especially like I love when someone especially like a white person. It's one of the hardest things because white people don't have really like a culture to like sit by. They just have like what they know. And when they date somebody who's in a culture of somebody of Asian, of Black, of Hispanic heritage and whatever, they have a problem going like, oh, well, I'm not used to this. And I don't know. And like, yeah, dude, you got to understand that you're not just dating, like culture is also a part of like how they think is also the same way as how you think. It was how you were raised, both of you guys. And if you got to understand this is how it is. This is how this culture is. Like getting fed a lot. Fuck. Love eating food, you know? Sounds great. Don't get a lot of that in white culture.
Right.
You know, all the mothering aspect, the what is it? I'm trying to think because it's hard for me because my dad was white, but is white. And I can tell you that he for sure he gives 100%, but it's 100% of his 100%. Would other people see it as 100? Probably like 75. He's still good, but not 100% because he still was missing some things. My mom, on the other hand, being somebody who was raised, she's black, raised Jewish, raised in like really fucked up communities who would treat, you know, how things are. She, looking into it, she jumped into a relationship with somebody who was white to get out of all of the norms that you would get, or get out of all the cultural things you get with being somebody of the same color, the same whatever, because she didn't want any of that. She didn't want to be with somebody who treated her the same way as her family she saw treat themselves, you know? So she was like, let me go with somebody who's completely not about that. And there were definitely times of butting heads because like my mom being somebody who she was, strong, independent Black woman, very emotional, very loud, very much like wanting to let you know what's going on in her mind. Well, my dad's just quiet, fucking shut. He's like, no, like I'm gonna let you, honey, I'm gonna let you speak. Like I'm gonna let you say what you got to say, and I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna shake my head. And I'm like, no, there needs to be a little more. Come on, Dad. Like you can grow some balls too. Like get in this. But I do see that because culture is a huge thing when it comes to that whole 50-50 dating thing. Because there are cultures out there where they're not like, that's not how they perceive like relationships being. They perceive it as like very much like a business style relationship. And there's some cultures where it's fully emotional or fully sexual or only when needed to be with each other, not when something's happening. So culture it's a whole other topic we can get on when it comes to like how that works. Crazy shit.
Can we talk about simping in male culture? Can we talk about that real quick? I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna talk about my boy Prince Harry, man. You know, I respect him.
Damn.
For the women listening to this, listen, hear me out. If a man critiques another man for being a simp, oftentimes it's coming from a place of frustration because they cannot provide in the way those simps do. Like a real man who's on your team, who rocks with you, who wants to see you grow, will have no qualms about giving the best he can for you. Period. And those guys who don't have it, they're jealous. So they call those dudes simps.
Is that really what is that? Yeah, because
I mean,
you know, if you're going all in, go all in. You know, like if you're going into it, go into it with what it is. I don't like that. Because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that could say that I'm a lower class person or whatever because I focus my attention on making sure my relationship fucking works. But I look at people like that and say, well, then why do you even want to be in a relationship? You know, like so this is the kind of person I am. I generally don't give a shit about anything. Anything.
That is not true.
Anyone. No, it's true. It's true. Anything or anyone, nothing. I don't give a fuck. Like, why am I not a racist person? Because that means I gotta care. I don't care.
Oh my
why
God.
do I gotta be a sexist? I don't care. I literally I cannot. Like it hurts me to sit down and try to like figure out why people give so much of a shit about other people to that point where they're like, I want to control their lives. I'm not about that. So when I'm in a relationship with somebody, I don't have anything else to give a fuck about. I've got you to give a fuck about. All of it. And at some point, being in a relationship, like I've known that. That's why I kind of like got a dog, because I'm like, now I can focus like my attention on two things. Like I care about my dog, I care about my girlfriend, I care about the place I live. Everything else is there. And I'm not saying like I don't like friends or anything like that, but it's like what happens to you. Yeah, like what happens to you and what's going on with you is what's going on with you. But like these are things I can care about, that I can put 100% of myself into. And I don't expect that from everybody else. I don't expect somebody who I'm with to give me the same amount that I'm giving them, because like my girlfriend cares about like, you know, she focuses on like, you know, putting on her makeup every day, making sure she looks great, making sure, because it is a outward appearance of, I want people to look at me and see me as a pleasant person. See me as a nice person, see me as a well-educated, well-off and everything. I don't give a shit. I don't care. So I don't put that much effort into that. And that's fine, you know? Like I put more of that effort into, no, I want us to be a thing that works. So I will go through more, like I'll teeter through here and I'll do that and I'll do what we can to make sure that this works, because I'd rather it work than not.
That makes sense. But arguably, those dudes who don't have a secure, healthy relationship and a nice dog would look at you and be like, oh, he's such a simp, right? But like, what the
I don't think he's a simp at all. I mean, I talk shit that he's like kind of like, whatever. He's a hopeless romantic, not a simp.
Yeah, but like he
stands his ground. A simp is a dude that doesn't stand his ground as a man. Like,
oh yeah, I stand my ground.
Max stands his ground. Like we call that as like that is what I'm talking about. It's not about like, oh man, I'm so jealous of his lifestyle. No, it's just you gotta stand your ground. You gotta say like, this is my line. This is what I cannot accept. It's same with women. Women do it all the time, right? Why should it be different for a man to do it, right? So, you know what I mean?
I know, because the only way I've really heard the word simp used is like when I see men being like really loving and adoring to their girlfriends or their wives.
We're not talking about that. Like that's not the same thing. Okay, yeah, we definitely talk shit to people who are doing that. We're talking about dudes that like don't have their balls anymore. Like they're like, here, right? There's got to be a certain line like, okay, you cannot accept this as a human being, right? As a human being, but you allow that to happen because the person you're with, you give your all. Like I've seen relationships where people just give so much, right? Like they literally damn near went from freaking, damn near atheist to like a whole new like lifestyle, right?
Sacrificing bits of who they are.
Who they are just to be with somebody. I'm not saying sip-like mentality, because it's like, chill. Like you still are a human being. You are a man. You need to like step up and do these things.
Yeah, it's absolutely unhealthy to sacrifice yourself in that regard.
But at the same time, there are people who, it's not that they're sacrificing, they literally lack those things. Like there are some dudes, and this is a fact, there are some dudes that need to get their ass whooped and need to like to get out of bed, you know? Not like that. I'm talking like you know, they need that strong woman behind them because they just can't do shit on their own, you know? And is it bad on them? It's their relationship, you know? Like if it works for them, it works for them, kind of a thing. Is it gross? Yeah, absolutely. But as I constantly say, you can't yuck somebody else's yum, you know? Like if it works for them and their person, they're not a strong person, and they get with like a male that gets with a strong female to fight their battles for them because they don't feel strong enough to fight their battles. I think it's not well or healthy for you to focus on somebody else to do everything for you. But if it works, it works. You know,
you could say simp. You could say simp, Max. You could say that's a simp. Like, okay, all right. It's okay to say that's a simp, like kind of shit.
So you then, Dante, you do believe in 50-50 then? Like you do believe that men should then have their boundaries, have their standards, and not just be overwhelmed in relationships.
Dante, let me get one of them Jamaican air horns right now. She got you.
No, I only do it when I feel like it. Not when someone tells me to. Nah. Okay. So it's not about me believing in a 50-50. Yes, we all want to believe that everything is equal. Like we all want to believe that it's balanced.
Just said though.
Here's the thing. You're just not going to expect that. You can't expect it to be 50-50. Whether you give it your all or not, that's on you, right? So the problem that people having is that they're expecting that balance. They're looking for that balance because they've seen other people have that balance, but they didn't realize what they had to go through to get to that balance wherever they're at, right? There's got to be some equality that's going on because you just have to just do it. Like say, like in the instance, if I go on a date with someone, I know my favorite cancer, he disagreed with me that he's taking girls on dates and they pay 50-50 and half. Yes, that works for you. That's good. But for me, like in my experience, it did not work that well. Like I'm expected as a person, especially what someone brought up too, is that if I bring up the idea of going on a date, then I pay, right? That's fine. I agree with that, right? We talked about this in our last couple episodes. Whoever freaking brings up the idea should pay.
Whoever initiates it gets to pay,
right?
Yeah.
Right. But now it goes back to us as men. We got to initiate it anyway. Like it's never a chance. Like maybe few women like initiated, but we do it anyway. Like I've been in so many situations where the women waiting for me to make the initiation. So in a sense, it still goes back down to men paying the shit anyway. Like it doesn't matter. Like you can disagree, but like I've seen like that's literally what it's come down to because they're waiting for me to make that initiation as a man to do that. That's what we're taught in society or culture or whatever case may be. You can even bring up religiously, all that stuff. It's what a man's supposed to do.
But we're not talking in that context. We're talking about. Okay. But you had said earlier it's not about like who's paying for dates and who's not. You said it went back to the idea of like emotional, like financial, just even your identity. Like it doesn't make sense, you were saying, for men to like just give that all up in a relationship, like your masculinity in a relationship just to make the relationship work. Like that isn't okay. You literally just said like when you're in a relationship, I'm not talking about like the material stuff, I'm talking about like your manhood. You just said don't be a simp, stand up for yourself. Wouldn't you? Isn't that what we're talking about when it comes to 50-50? Like don't bring yourself, bring your manhood, bring your femininity, and don't self-sacrifice for the relationship.
I was about to say, as a male, we are expected to give 100% of our all in the things that we care about. So yeah, technically speaking, you're correct. Like if you're a guy in your relationship, you are expected to give 100%. You should, because that's what our gender norms are told us to be. But a lot of the time we don't get taught that's how it's supposed to be in a relationship. Men aren't supposed to give their 100%. That's the relationship is where the man just comes in and puts the food on the table and the woman takes care of the kids, you know. But that's disgusting.
I don't know. I think yeah, I think that was the traditional like relationship, and I think our generation is like, you know what, that didn't work out for my parents, that didn't work out for my grandparents, so how can I find quote unquote balance, the 50-50 rule? Because we've seen those relationships and they don't work. Like someone always ends up unhappy.
Yeah. Damn boomers.
I'm still team 50-50 to an extent. Yeah.
Well, I'm still not sold on the 50-50
method.
method.
The terminology
That's
of
fine.
It. I don't like the terminology of it, but yeah, no, I'm about it too. Like,
yeah, of course you are, Max. This is why we have this episode. This is why we had created this podcast together as a crew, because your ass does not agree with any of the shit that I say.
Yeah, because you don't put 100% effort in.
Nah, why, huh? I'm saying, all I say in an instance, yes, we could say let the 50s do 60. I'm not saying I'm 100%er person. I agree. I'm not that 100% person. I do the best I ability to do what I can. Like either 60, 30, 40, 50. That is the
12.
best of my ability, whatever I can do. I'm not going to push myself to do more than unless it's not needed. You know what I mean? Unless I can push myself to do better. Like there's always a chance of me doing better, always produce. As you guys see in my podcast, I always look to improve and I always look to do things more, better than I did before, right? Improvement is fine. Improving myself, improving on the podcast, everything else. I agree with that. But if I feel like I'm pushing myself to be like a 50 to 100, I'm definitely going to know I'm definitely trying to push myself harder than I'm supposed to. And then finding out that you're not even 100% to someone else's ideal, like you're not even going 100%. Like, what? I thought I was. So that's where it just shuts you down. You're like, damn it, this whole time I thought I was going 100%. Right?
Mhm.
So now you're all discouraged. Now you're like, well, why should I even do that again? That was stressful. So put yourself in a situation as someone who feels like they're doing the best they can, and it may not be solved for someone who's going 100%, has a different expectation. That's the issue we're having with, because everyone has a different ideal of what 100% is and what 30% is or 50% are.
But it just goes back to Savage's point. Like, we communicate that. Like, we work on creating an environment. We have to decide to, like, okay, be vulnerable and open. And like, I feel like I'm going 30% and I'm starting to get feedback and you're telling me I'm not doing enough. How do we work on this? I would rather do that versus, all right, let me just throw the whole fucking person away. Like,
Yeah.
That's not.
Well, that's what people do. A lot of people do that because they just don't feel like they don't want to invest themselves into someone. Hey, turn that phone down, man. Come on.
I'm so sorry.
Who was that? 10 o'clock? Oh, it's not 10 o'clock. I'm about to say booty call. Damn.
No.
Come on, let's go.
That's so unprofessional. My bad, y'all.
Hey, man, it's all good. I didn't say that people put their phone on silence because everyone has their phone. It's okay.
I was about to say, I had shaky cam half the beginning of this video and then showed my dog the other half. Professionalism is not my thing.
Oh, well, I expect that from Max.
I don't give a fuck.
No,
but and Shirley,
what did I say?
and Shirley's the type of woman, she wants to like to look things perfect. Everything needs to be perfect. It has to be pristine position because she's a podcaster. We forgetting that. She also is a podcaster, and she knows what lighting looks right, what the background looks like. She's like, oh, what was that? Something's happening. Like she got her eye on everything.
Yeah, so that was not a good look. That was very unprofessional as a podcaster.
Hey, don't beat yourself up, Angela. I've done a lot of unprofessional shit on my podcast. You're good. I'm not gonna scold you for it. You're fine.
This time.
I'm not gonna beat you with a ruler in the back of like a fucking back of a meat's fucking a meat store. Oh man, what's up? What's going on? Oh, Swish is on. I don't know who's still on. If you guys have any other questions, I know we've been rambling about shit. And you guys have been listening to us. I did not completely ignore the viewers and people who are listening. I didn't forget you guys. If you guys have anything you want to say, I'm not sure how far we're gonna go. We may go into a post episode. I don't know how I feel. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. We may be ending soon. So say what you guys need to do. Talk shit what you need to do. What else? What else we got?
I was gonna say let's hear some viewer feedback, as it would be.
Nah, man, ain't nobody saying nothing. Everyone's quiet. They're just tuning in.
Oh, they're just quiet. They're
the lurkers.
They're loving what we're saying. Apparently.
The lurkers.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this though. Like, as Black women, I feel like we're expected to give 50-50, but like other women aren't. I've heard that a lot, where like there's this expectation that just culturally, like, we have to give a lot. And I don't know, pussy's enough for other women. Like, does that make sense? No?
Oh no. It makes sense what you're saying. I just don't agree with this.
Black women are the most misunderstood of all. Like,
yes.
Honestly, the most misunderstood.
Yes. And
I mean,
subject for another day, but yes, absolutely. Black women are the most misunderstood because there's a norm, a social standard that people believe that this is what everything is, and it's bullshit. Because people are people. People are people. That whole, oh well, this has to be like this because this is how I've seen it in fucking cartoons or whatnot. Nah, no. And it also comes down to the other side, because as somebody who's dated in multiple cultures, when it comes to dating, especially those in the white culture, they don't have that same 50-50 kind of mentality. At least not in my
woman, Max? I didn't know that. I didn't know you did, sister. Please. You have? I didn't know that. I didn't know you dated a Black woman.
not for like a long sum of time. Because as I've stated multiple times before, I try to like stay out of the gene pool. You know, like I try to go for something different. Like I like something new. You know, the experience. I go for those of different. Every once in a while, I'll step in.
You step in.
Yeah, you know.
When you're feeling like when you feel right.
Soon, but yeah. I'm not gonna sit there and be like it's not beautiful. Like fuck. I'm not gonna ignore. Like I'm like, damn, girl, you gorgeous. Who cares what skin color you got? You're just a good person. Like I don't give a shit.
Huh.
I am saying though, pretty fucking good food. Like one thing I can say, anybody who's not anybody who's not of the white variety makes great food for you, and their families are either super accepting or not accepting at all, depending on who you are. And that's oof.
I'm sorry, white people.
Oh yeah, no, don't feel sorry for them. Don't.
There are white people out there who can cook.
Yes.
They exist.
Yes.
They usually have a black friend, but they can cook.
That's all I was gonna say. You know, they usually it's because they're introduced to other foods from other people and they go, oh shit, this is delicious. What is this? Pepper? Oh fuck. Let me try this. Let me add some of this shit into this. Yeah, absolutely. My dad became a better chef because he started paying attention to what my mom was cooking. He was like, oh fuck, this looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
good shit.
I wouldn't know how to definitely cook. I mean,
yeah, fuck yes.
Shout out to the black moms out there, the black women out there doing it big. You know what I'm saying? Is it women's history? Or is it women's national?
It is Women's History Month.
Is it month? Oh, I thought it was the day. I thought y'all only get a day.
The day was was 2 days ago, but yeah.
So it's a month.
It's a whole month. Yeah.
Right after Black History Month. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right after. Okay. All right. It's a different thing. It's different though. Shout out to women out there. International Women's Month. I support.
No. Yeah. I actually like where you're going with this. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, all right. So I mean, I have nothing bad to say about it. I love it. I love to see that women are progressing, moving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supportive of it. So I'm not like a sexist or nothing like that. Maybe a little bit, but
you're like Kevin Samuels. He's so.
I am like Kim. If I don't have kids and I don't get married, I'm most likely gonna go towards Kevin Samuels.
See, which is like, who is he to talk? He doesn't have any of that. Like, who is he to give dating advice? He doesn't even have a girlfriend.
See, you know, that's one of the things I've talked about too, where I'm like, who are people who sit there and say everything's got to be to this norm or whatnot, when it's like, motherfucker, you're single. Like, no. You can't be talking like this isn't the movie Hitched. Like, fucking, right. You can't be like, oh, I got the great guidance on what's going on. No, you don't. Look into your own life. Like, you ain't got it. You don't.
People still seek for him for advice, though. Let's be honest.
True.
I mean, they seek it, and
people seek Charles Manson for advice too, you know. And look where that ended up. Like, some people just look for advice in the wrong places. Go for somebody who shows results. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking somebody who can prove, like, hey, not only do I have an established marriage, but I'm also handling 3 fucking kids and a full-time business. That's the kind of person I want to listen to versus somebody who just wants to fucking, I don't know, degrade women or whatever.
Know your strengths on the team. And
if I have no problem with degrading women. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Listen, man, I've been scarred. I'm scarred. All right, listen here, man. I worked in the industry like ran by women in retail, man. I've dealt with this. I learned to shut my mouth and not say shit. All this just piled up, man. I'm just, I'm sick of it.
And I think that's the same thing that could be said for Kevin Samuels. Like, I think it's all a defense mechanism because he was hurt. So he gets on the internet and then shits on women.
You know, he's holding women accountable. That's what we call it.
Okay, what is this whole thing about women don't take accountability? I don't know why that is a thing, but I've been hearing this a lot. Like, do you guys? Okay, this is a little off topic. But
we're always off topic. Actually, it's the first episode we actually were on topic. We were talking about 50% the whole fucking time. I just threw it out there, the subject out there. We actually were talking about it. Remarkably, we actually went through and actually talked about an actual episode. Shout out to Max and Shirley, yo.
Thanks.
Dang.
Continue on, Aunt Shirley. What are we talking about?
Okay, so there's this myth that women don't take accountability, right? Especially in relationships. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because it's not just about like, oh, I can't say sorry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like there's, in general, men have said in relationships where like women like don't communicate, or they have these like high expectations for you. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sure you can think of your own examples in your life where you were like, you know what, she fucked up and she's not going to take accountability. Do you guys think that's a general thing, like a general problem with women? Or do you think like it's just like the person? Awkward. Cricket.
No.
You
want to go ahead, Max? You got it? Okay.
Then this is going to be very people are going to be very upset when I say this, but in the many years that I've been alive and the many women that I've met, I have noticed a large amount of hypocrisy. And I can't really say like it's all this or it's all that, but there is levels of hypocrisy. Like, I can do what I want. Like I got everything, blah, blah. Okay, pick what we're going to eat for dinner. I don't know. Yeah, it's shit like that. And that's where I can see people putting that comment towards and saying, well, that's why this is, they're not taking accountability for whatever or whatnot. And, they're not blah, blah, blah. They're treating like this. I don't agree with that, but I can see where people can see that being a thing. I don't think it's like strictly just women though. I think guys are the same fucking way. Most men can't be held accountable for shit that they do. I mean, most guys that I know of, including me, will lie our way to get to what we need. Like it's just a thing that we do. So I do not believe that it's kind of like, I was talking to Dante about this fucking last week when it comes down to that this stupid fucking term that I hate that people use, mansplaining. Hate it. Absolutely fucking hate this term. But it's something where it's like I sat back and I'm like, no, like mansplaining, a man standing there, I'm like, wait a second, but women belittle. It's the same thing. Women will sit there and like use, especially in larger groups of women, they'll take that time to like focus on belittling a man or being like, oh, well, this, ha, 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 I'm joking about it. And it is joking. It's nothing harsh or super critical, but it is instances where this happens. It's the same fucking thing. This and this are the same thing. The only difference is, well, this person's a guy, this person's a girl, but the action's still the same action. I don't think it's just that all women are unaccountable. It's that men are focusing on looking at certain triggers and going, this is what proves that they're unaccountable for this. Girls can do the same thing to guys. Well, why aren't you on time? Why do I have to make the argument of who's going to pay for dinner? Why is this? Why is that? There's ways on there's factors everywhere that can go for whatever this is. Dante, add your piece, because you're probably going to be like, fuck women. They're all hypocrites.
In Women's Month too. Can you imagine?
All right, I'm not going to bash them because it's Women's Month. Okay, right? Okay. I come in peace. However, I see what you mean. I normally don't complain about that kind of shit, but
yeah,
it's hard, man, because in the workplace, what I've dealt with, this is my personal experience. I've always learned to hold myself accountable for any of the actions I do, and if not, get chewed out for it. I'm expected that. But when you have someone who's just not used to doing that, not used to letting people and the problem is a lot of people allow them to do these kind of behaviors, so now they know it's okay to do it. So now they're thinking, oh yeah, it's fine, I can keep doing this. Okay, let me keep doing this, right? So there's no accountability, and when someone holds them accountable for it, they're scolded for something else, right? And I've seen it happen before when, like, even you might hate Canvas Simmons, but he held women accountable on certain things, and the women that was in that group just chewed him out and like walked away. Like obviously he won that battle. Like they couldn't say nothing bad about it. When you walk away and you're pissed off, he's not pissed off. Kevin Samuels is like, okay, right? When you're pissed off and upset with someone, knowing that someone's giving you accountability for certain things you're doing, it's like you're gonna accept it. Like, I'm not saying all women do it, but like a certain amount of women I've worked with never held themselves accountable. Like, they just said, this is you're just being a man, you're just mansplaining, or you're just this, right? You're just not fucking coachable, or you're this fucking man that's trying to take over shit. And it's just like, you're
it's that whole like everybody else is wrong but not you kind
everybody's
of thing.
against
Now,
you. Yeah. It's the everybody against you mentality, the victim mentality. And it's like, yo, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying, like, yo, like, you held me accountable. Let me keep that same energy. I'm the kind of person that puts that energy back out there. Hold me accountable. Like, hey, man, step it up, Dante. You've been late. You've been messing up on work. I'm like, damn, shit. Okay, all right, cool. You're right. And I don't take that personal. I'm like, okay, they just let me know. Even though they go a shitty way of telling me it, but I take it in a different perspective. I'm like, okay, they just want me to get better at this. Okay, let me work on this. But if you tell us that to certain women that I work with, they'll flip out. They'll change it a whole different thing. They'll change it a whole different perspective. You're just like, yo, like, I'm just telling you, like, this is the truth. I may be shitty at telling you, giving the information. You might take it emotionally, but I'm giving you what I feel that needs to be said. So like, maybe I could be a little bit more nicer about it, a little bit more sugarcoating it, or I don't know how to communicate that, but that's the issue we're having because women just like, it's different now back then than it is now, right?
Mm.
So I'm not saying, actually, you're the same way. You probably hold yourself fully accountable for certain things you do. You may not even fall in this category, but a lot of women do feel that way.
That's true.
You know, and that could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not specifically aiming towards women's like all women are just accountable for their actions, right? Women love to actually have a man that holds them accountable. Same as a man. Men want to hold someone accountable, like women that hold themselves accountable. Like, yo, I fuck with you because you hold me accountable for my actions. Like, that's what's up. Like, you want me to do better. But there's other people, like men and women, it's just it's so hard, you know, and especially in this world because people are just not holding themselves accountable. And period. It probably has nothing to do with gender. It's just period in general. People just don't hold themselves accountable.
Yeah.
But I think more men are just like, now these days, it's so sensitive. Like you get cancel culture so quick. So a lot of men are like, fuck, okay, let me back off. Let me not say nothing to escalate this. So we're kind of like, we're taking a step back. We're like, okay, all right. So, and this time it's a little different.
I mean, that's a good point. People definitely weaponize accountability instead of like, so if you do take responsibility and you do say, I messed up here and I'm going to do better, like that suddenly becomes like people's out to berate you, right? And so maybe that's why some people avoid taking accountability because they don't want it to be used as a weapon, right? But I think maybe, like you said, maybe it's not a gender thing. Maybe it's just like an emotional maturity thing.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Men and women.
Yeah, I know tons of women that just hold themselves accountable for certain shit they do. Like, fuck, I fucked up.
Like, I did it. Yeah, I did it. And
like, fuck, all right, let me get better. You know what I mean? But like, you know, it's a little hard, especially the feminists out there. I'm not speaking no names, but if a man tells a woman that she's doing something wrong in the feminist mindset, she's gonna feel like she's attacked.
Well, okay, but then like it depends on the environment. Like, is he telling her she's doing something wrong because like
environment? You gonna say environment? Environment?
No, like okay, think of it as like a work situation, right? Like if your manager comes up to you and he's like, listen, like I don't think it's appropriate for you to be talking to customers in the way that you talk to customers, and she's a feminist, right? In many ways, that's like a gendered critique. Does that make sense?
Like, what do you mean gender critique? It's her boss. It's her boss critique.
What if that's just who she is as a person? What if she's just like a naturally feminine person? She touches people, like that's just who she is as a person.
This is a manager giving her critique. It has nothing to do with gender. Like literally, he said, yo, you're fucking up. Like, stop what you're doing. I'm the manager. Like, when you are a manager, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But like, but when you say gender critique, she's gonna take it. That's the problem. Like she's not holding something. She's not holding something accountable.
No, okay, so in this instance, in that little bit, you have to go into the fact of the manager can't just say, "Oh, well, it's my place. It has to be." It has to always come from a place of what does the business need? Does the business need you acting like this? If you go into a work environment and you were acting 100% like you, and they come up and say, hey, what you're doing isn't up to code. Like you're very touchy with people. You talk about shit that we don't want you to talk about, blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Okay,
as a manager, I expect you to follow the fucking rules on what we have laid out.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Before you go on, we're talking about work stuff now. Okay, we're not talking relationships here. Work and relationships are a little different. However, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like my boss be coming at me sideways. My boss, no, I'm not working right now. But when my boss did, she would just come at me sideways. There was no like sugarcoating. There was no like I'm gonna learn his style of like learning. Women think in their mind, he's a man. He can handle this shit, right? Let me fucking just give him to him right straight then and there. Like fuck it, right? So we take it like, okay. Now we can't do that to a woman and say like, "Hey, you're fucking up. What? You're gender attacking me?" Like it's just it goes so sideways. So a lot of men are holding themselves accountable for what they say. So we're keeping responsibility of what we say, especially in the workplace.
Okay. Valid. Okay. Fine. Okay. You're okay. Here. Okay. I have something for you. You're valid. Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with you, right? Men do generally have, they get talked to a certain way, but it just goes back to like understanding each individual and like respecting them as such. So like if you were a black guy who talked in like a black accent, right? Like super black, right? And
what does that mean?
I don't like
how do you talk black? Tell me.
Like full on Ebonics.
Like whoa. Ebonics? Is that what makes you talk black?
I mean, like if I could
that's what that sounds like.
That's what you hear? Oh, okay. Oh, my battery's exhausted. See?
All right.
Fucking up my shit.
That's our cue to leave.
Hold on, let me change this up. Damn. I'm doing it for the squad, man. Y'all gonna have to see my background. It's a problem, as I didn't want this to happen.
Damn, look at that. Look at that organization right there.
We went more than the post episode.
Okay, we stop.
Yeah, I was gonna say this sounds like a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I mean, continue on what you had to say, Aunt Shirley, because I know you had something important to say.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh, well, okay. I'll just all I would say is like it would be super problematic for your white boss to be like, "Hey, man, you're talking too black here. Can you tone it down a little bit?" Right? I don't like the way you say homie and stuff. Like, this is not how we talk here. That would be a racist critique in a way, versus saying things like, you know what, like, maybe you can approach our customers in this way. It might be more effective, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just how you present to the issue, but the issue is at hand where someone is talking to somebody else as a buddy when you're not. You're supposed to talk to that person work-wise. You're supposed to talk to that person as a client, and it is a respectful thing. And we live in a society where a lot of people do sit there and go, well, you're trying to change who I am. No, I'm not trying to change who you are. You were employed. My pronouns. Like you have come to my place of my job to work here, and there are certain things I will not expect anything. I especially when I as a manager, I would never expect anybody under me to go anything above and beyond what they're not comfortable doing at all. And I like when people bring in their own personality towards things and shit. But if it gets out of hand, like I've had coworkers they get too comfortable. They start cursing way too much. It's like, well, that's just how I talk. No, it's not. And if you want to talk like that, you can talk like that on your own time. But this is a place of work. This is an establishment. This is where you have to do this. I'll never tell somebody they have to like cut their accent, whatever. But you have to understand that you can still talk hood and be professional. Okay. Tons of people do it. I do it all the fucking time. You can totally do it. You just have to learn. And it is a thing where the manager's got to sit back and go, how do I say this without sounding bad? Yeah, absolutely. But there is a way to get through it to say, hey, you got to do this because I got to do this the same fucking way, Yeah.
Damn. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Sorry, I'm like doing a couple of things. All right, guys.
Switching angles.
I'm switching angles out here, man, because like my bad. I'm eventually get some point where I'm gonna be able to get another battery and just connect it there, I'm gonna buy one at some point, guys. So work with me. I'm working on it. It's a process. I'm looking to get better, right? See? You see that?
See?
I'm not sure, man. We went we're pretty long on this episode, man. I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm not sure how long you guys want to keep going on.
Well, I definitely have to walk my dog, so we'll see if I help on the post episode. But no, I enjoyed the time. I enjoyed the talk. It's definitely great.
Yeah, same.
I don't know if are we doing a post episode?
With how much we talked about in this one, probably not.
Probably not. We're like the only ones talking to each other, really. I mean, people are coming in and tapping in. I appreciate you guys coming on, especially people who tune into the episode who are long fans. Let's give a shout out to them. But however, you know, I love y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you guys coming on. I recorded it maybe earlier on. I forgot to record it, but I recorded it now. So I messed up on that part. What's he doing, man? You walking your dog right now?
I'm getting him ready.
Come on, man. Come on, dog.
Yeah, dog. I'm getting him ready.
All right.
I'm like Apollo.
All right.
He's got to get ready for this.
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on, and yeah, we'll do. We're not gonna do a post episode. We kind of went in.
You don't feel like it? All right. Let's call it a night.
I mean, do you want to? Should we?
What does the audience want?
No one's even on. I mean, you know, still people popping in here and there, but nah.
It's okay. What?
Yeah. We'll chill off the post episode. Yeah. We won't go too heavily onto it. But if y'all want to do a post episode, let us know. Comment on there. But I'm sure ain't nobody on to comment because everyone's kind of like, hey, you motherfuckers talk about nothing. Boring. Nah, I'm just kidding.
This was such a content-rich conversation.
No, it was. I think it was too. I agree. I agree with everything you just said right there. But you know what? I'm gonna keep posting content. Eventually, somebody's going to like, we're gonna eventually get a sponsor. Somebody.
Kevin Sanders gonna be like, I like this guy.
I'm gonna be Joe Budden or somebody, or Joe Rogan or somebody.
Gross. Let's do it.
But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming on, man. Yeah. Tap in to next episode. Yes, we will do. I don't know what the episode's gonna be about. We'll talk about some shit. But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming on. Let's go. Yeah. Later, guys.
Later, everybody. Peace. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You do? Do you? You like White Date? Oh, okay. Oh, well, I appreciate it.
Hello, friends. This is Dante from the White Date Podcast. Thank you for tuning in onto our episode. And just wanted to give you guys some updates. I know I usually do this at the end of my episodes. I'm doing a little update. So we do still have a Patreon website. I've been putting exclusive content on there. I haven't put any dating coaches or advice or anything like that yet. I'm still working on that. If you still want to donate to the Patreon, it's still on there on the White Date Podcast website. But for right now, all I'm doing right now is Venmo. I'll put the link onto this episode on the YouTube episode. Hope you guys, like I said, like the episode. But I'm putting everything on there. Currently, I am still working on advice dating because I want to have a community where we're having someone giving advice, having some experts on there that's helping people through dating. So I know we typically talk about a lot of funny stuff on our episodes, but I also want to provide some kind of service to everyone who's listening. So let's get their money's worth for something. It's $5. It's definitely not going to raise the price because I haven't done much with my Patreon. But I still have a Venmo on there. It's going to be on there. But I will put the link down here. You can kind of see it. And just so you guys know, I appreciate you guys joining in and tuning into our episode thus far, listening to all our stuff. But yeah, that is it for you guys. I will post more things on my Patreon. Like I said, I'll still put the exclusive content, the post episode on there. the audio form. I can't really put the video on for some strange reason. It's too big of a file. But that's what I want to have on there, guys. And that is it. That's all I have to say. But please subscribe too, as well, on the YouTube channel if you guys haven't done so already. But that is it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your day.